Welcome back to the channel. We are the Movie Marathon Men. I'm Owen Garner.
And I'm Luke Carr.
And we watch films that make us go, Today we're doing another episode in our Saga Wars series. We've been watching the films in anticipation of Romulus. We've been covering Alien, and today it's Alien Resurrection.
Alien Resurrection attempts to bring the franchise back from the dead 5 years after the previous installment, and didn't it just, kicking off a 15-year wait for Prometheus. 200 years after the events of Alien 3, Ripley has been cloned by some pesky scientists who want to revive the alien. We follow our heroic band of human traffickers as they look to save not only themselves, but Earth itself.
So, Luke, what have you given Alien Resurrection on story?
5. Not great.
Yeah, so for me it's a 4.
Yeah. Impressive that actually I've given it higher. I will say, if someone described it to me, I would enjoy the sciencey elements, the experiments, that gore, the different type of gore.
There's one specific bit that in isolation works really well.
Yeah.
Of the science bit with the button and the hand over the button.
Yep.
That bit works. There are bits of this
exactly.
My first note on story is what's going on.
Yeah, that's
like this film is. And the first time that we watched this together, we were like entering delirium. We'd done an actual marathon. This was at like 2 a.m. We were trying to like power through. It was such an odd. What's going on? It can't be like this. It surely can't.
There's no way this is the follow-up.
And watching it in just normal daytime and seeing it, it's like what is this film? With
sober eyes, I watched this film.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's really weird. As I've given it the 5 because there's some individual points that pull it up. Mm-hmm. It's basically just the science experiment stuff. In the same token, it makes it less scary. Makes it creepy. It doesn't make it scary in the way that the first one is. It's in the shadows.
I wrote that it felt like the script had been in a few different hands. It feels like there are different passes that have been done on this film. There's an action version of this film. There's a science version of this film. Yeah. There's a more traditional alien version of this film. The reason I think I'm actually going to mark my story down to a 3. I hate that Ripley is in this film.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against Ripley. It's nothing against Sigourney Weaver, but that they've put her in the story, what they've done with her in the story, I just hated. It's a 2. It's a 2. it's coming down moment by moment. Because there's a version of this film where you've taken her out, and I would love to sit down in an editing suite and change this film because there is an interesting film in there. There's a good film that you could salvage where it's more about the science thing, but they sort of tack on Ripley's story. They sort of shoehorn it in. It has to be, Ripley has to be there because it's an alien film.
As well as every criticism you just leveled at it.
Yeah.
It devolves into just Alien.
Yeah.
Just Alien 1.
Yeah.
Except there's 12 of them, but it is just Alien 1 in that they're on a bigger ship, but it's a similar they're just running away from Alien.
Yeah.
The actual plot of this film is they run away from an alien, and then some of them live.
Yeah.
And they take away all of the good stuff from Alien and Aliens and replace it with cliche.
I couldn't stop it.
See, I saw that, and I thought you were just so. I could see as I was making my points, you were going, and I was like, he's really into it.
I think that's a really interesting point that you made.
It's not good.
No. So, Luke, what have you given Alien Resurrection on character?
4.
Well, I had actually in my notes, I've forgotten to write in scores, so I'm having to kind of think of them
I'll get them.
on the. I did, but I mean,
Ripley's not very good,
yeah,
as we've talked about, and that's not Sigourney Weaver's fault because she's told to be weird. Yeah. I assume.
Why is she even in it? Why have they cloned her?
Because
why is she being odd?
Because she's been so weird, and like but it's not android like it's definitely not her,
Yeah.
and it's not her.
Yeah.
You're just in between. You're like,
Yeah.
sometimes she'll have like a heart to heart with someone, and you go, oh, that's maybe she's becoming more. And then the next scene, she's doing something really weird.
Yeah.
And
What?
I just don't get it. But the other characters are annoying. Like the crew are annoying.
They're cliche machines.
Yeah. I don't mind Winona Ryder, actually. She's actually fine in this film.
You know, this is the first ever Winona Ryder film that I saw.
Is it?
Yeah. In my notes, I wrote character assassination.
Character question mark?
Yeah, it just, what they do to Ripley, I hate. So 2 again. Because there are other people who kind of work for me. The general, that guy, he works in a way.
This is it. They're all okay.
The scientist guy, the kind of creepy weird one, works in a way. There are parts that do work, but what isn't good on character for me really brings it down.
Could you tell me any of the characters' names?
Ripley. But she's not. She's 8. And we will cut this down for time, but I'm just genuinely, for me, I want to...
Yeah, because...
No.
Yeah.
This is a sort of like, they let a kid write a movie, and then they didn't like make any edits.
It just feels like such a bizarre thing to exist, because there's no direction behind it. I don't mean the director. I know we're on character here, but there's no thrust. Yeah. And that goes into the characters. They are just people to be killed, or to say entertaining lines in quotation marks.
Which have aged like milk, because, written by Joss Whedon. Sort of joke machine that he is. They're very quippy and like sort of early Marvel kind of style, but they just don't work. They're just slogans.
Yep.
They're just cliches. Like but you can't like respond to a cliche with a cliche with a cliche with a cliche. Like, it just doesn't work. You can't do that. Nah. So for me, I stand by my 2. So Luke, now this is where I've given it 2 2s just off the cuff there. You'll edit me to look like a ballerina, I'm sure. What have you given this film on production?
4.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. I'm going to read what I've written, but I think for me it is going to be higher. I mean, there's some really fun sci-fi elements. The bit with the drink, with the whiskey, where
that's nice. Yeah.
Stuff like that's just really cool.
Yeah.
And that effect works really well.
I think it's the feel of the film. I think it's like...
Yes.
Okay, so if everything was 90% of the way there, then when it comes together, you're watching it and you're so aware that you're watching a film.
Yes.
You're so aware that this is like... I don't know, like it not everything is not quite right in such a way that I was never immersed in this film. I was never scared. I was never like thrilled by it. It was never funny. The sets are just hallways. Yeah. And actually, I know that they spend most of the time walking through hallways. Yes. They only made 2 hallway sets. So they are just walking up down one hallway, walk back down
and they just had to kind of redress it and change things around.
So most of this film is just in like brightly lit studio hallways.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at what I've written. They were let down by the CGI again. Yep. They did CGI aliens again. Not a good idea. It just doesn't work. It's just when you've got the perfect practical thing. Yeah. And it's like, hey, in Jaws, the shark didn't work properly, so they had to work around that. So the shark's barely in the movie. Yeah. And that's better. Yeah, so there are elements that do work, but yeah, I'm going to go for 5. I think you're right. The direction is bland. It doesn't... all of what it got on its look, it's inherited. So it's not invented any of that stuff.
But that's the thing. It inherited such a good... It's like a Donald Trump. It inherited, like, I turned my loan of £1 million into $900,000. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, this film inherited such a rich feel and look
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
And it did nothing. Like, it just abandoned all of the good
Yeah.
stuff. There are good things here. But it is like someone's prepared, like a Michelin star chef has seasoned a steak and handed it to you. And it's like, this is it. Finishing touches. Personalize it.
Yeah.
And they've just squirted ketchup all over it. And then you eat it and you're like, oh, well, I don't hate ketchup.
Yeah.
But like, you could have made this could have been incredible.
Yeah.
Like, you had it was all there.
Yeah.
And you've just squirted out something.
Yeah.
Like, this film is, I don't even want to call it lazy. Like, this was really harsh. I'm sure they tried.
Yeah, they tried really hard.
Yeah.
They tried.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some. We're sort of circling back round, but I feel we're both going to settle on our low scores. But you know, stuff like the basketball scene.
Yeah.
She made that shot.
Yes, she made it.
Like,
in
that's
real
real.
life. Yeah.
And so, like, stuff like that is super cool.
She apparently said that was when she made it, it was the happiest moment of her life after her wedding and the birth of her daughter. It is number 3 on Sigourney Weaver's moments in life.
That's incredible. Was it because she then got to finish doing that scene and she got closer to the wrapping of this film?
Yep.
So there are some really cool bits in the production like that, but that was just thrown in there. Hey. But it doesn't make sense. Why is Ripley doing that? Why is she weird? What's going on in this film? Why am I here? So, what have you given this film on a rewatch?
5.
I will remind you that I've had to come up with all my scores on the fly.
Okay, 5.
That's very kind of you.
It is not slow. That gives it points.
Yeah.
It's not entertaining. That loses it some points.
Yeah.
It's easy to follow once it gets into it.
Yeah.
But it's not easy to follow at the start.
Yeah.
You don't really care about the characters.
Yeah.
But after you've watched it a couple times and you're over the disappointment, you're happy to watch them die. These all add and minus.
Yeah.
And they end up on a flat 5, where this is nowhere near bad enough to watch funny. There were some other words that's supposed to be in there. This is nowhere near.
You're right. It's not so bad it's good.
Yeah.
It's not like a fun hate watch type
and it's
thing.
not good enough to just want to rewatch. But it does sit in the middle. I think, like, if you were to just chuck it on,
Yeah.
you can sit there and just sort of observe it.
Yeah, it's a big fat 0 for me. I'm never watching this movie ever again. I did not want to watch it for this watch through. I hated it when the first time that we watched it. I was not looking forward to watching it this time. I'm never watching this movie ever again. So on rewatch, that's a 0. Like, if I know that I never want to watch this movie, for me it sours an amazing trilogy because I love the first 3 films. There's complete character assassination of one of my favourite characters in cinema, of one of my favourite sagas in cinema, of one of my favourite genres in cinema.
Yeah.
It's
The strange things happened where you said that, and I felt such a strong urge to be like, I'll watch it. I felt such a strong, like, I'm going to defend this film. I actually think I could rewatch this.
No, I really, really wouldn't want to.
I really don't like it, but I really think I could watch it again.
No, but you said this on one of the other videos that we did recently, where you said, oh, rewatch, like, am I going to watch this again? Or I've already had to watch this movie twice. Do I want to watch it again and take up the space of another movie? Are you saying that you would take up the space of another movie? Have you seen Gone with the Wind?
No.
Would you rather watch this again than watch Gone with the Wind?
I think I might.
Gone with the Wind is probably quite a long movie.
I think if you sat me down on like a Friday evening, what do you want to watch? Alien Resurrection again or Gone with the Wind? I actually think if it was like anonymous voting, I actually think I might watch Alien Resurrection.
I think this is the first time that those two movies have ever been mentioned in the same breath. I think nobody has ever thought to compare them.
I think if I look in my heart of hearts, I actually think I'd say I'd watch Alien Resurrection.
What does that say about people? in general.
That's true.
I think it is. So, Luke, what have you given this film on M Factor?
1.
Yeah.
It's a cliche. It's a cliche of the Alien films, and it is one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it just exhausted its goodwill, if it had any.
Which was already running low after 3, we'll say.
And brought not a lot new. Crazy Scientist, like, yeah, we've seen it.
Oh gosh, imagine watching this as Ridley Scott. How horrible is that day having to watch this? And people would have, whatever film he was doing at the time, Black Hawk Down or whatever, like was at that time, people will have gone to him. So Ridley, what do you think of the new film? And he's like there desperately just trying to promote his film, and he's being asked about this horrendous car crash of a movie.
It's quite bold, I think, to call it Resurrection. With, like, the idea being, we're resurrecting, obviously, Ripley.
Yeah.
But they're also going,
Yeah.
after the last one, you know,
Yeah.
that one that sucked. This is it, guys. We're bringing it back.
Don't worry, we're back.
We're resurrecting it.
Yeah.
And then they actually killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it brings nothing new. It's got no personality. Like, you told me it was the director of Amelie.
Yeah.
I actually just didn't know.
That's mad. That film has so much character, so much charm, and this film just has none of that. I mean, I have written, don't watch this tired. You'll think you're having a fever dream. Because when we watched it that time, and it was late, it was strange things were happening.
It was that situation where you read a book, right? And
Yeah.
And you go page and page, and then suddenly you go, oh my God, I've just not been, and you go back.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It was like that, but obviously in a film you pay even less attention. So
Yeah.
we got like halfway through this film, and then you go, what? Like, you just jolt awake here. What?
Yeah.
I've not been sleeping? What? The one thing I can say about this film is it was in focus. Critics were not critical enough.
Oh, really?
55%.
No, that's
7% more than 3. And 54 more than it should have.
Yeah.
Audiences gave it 39.
Yeah. See, that's
some
more,
sense.
Yeah.
So that is now the lowest so far.
Yeah.
I think it was 46 or something for Alien 3. 39 is lower. Yeah, this wasn't received well. It's not, at the very least, it's not a case of everyone just getting swept up with the hype of she's back and we didn't like Alien 3. It's people hated this film. It died. It killed the franchise. It was 45th in the box office, and yeah, I said 45th for a mainstream Alien film with a big budget.
And Sigourney Weaver and
back.
Winona Ryder.
45th. All 3 of the Star Wars re-releases were above it.
Wow. Yeah.
Just those the bad special editions.
The bad special editions with the added stuff.
I've got Speed 2 was above it.
Yeah.
Face Off. And the Mr. Bean movie.
Yeah, well, the Mr. Bean movie, that's a Stone Cold classic. We watched Face Off recently. That's a difficult watch.
Oh, it's a banger.
There's a lot of airlocks in these movies. They come into it quite a lot. I can think of the first one, the second one. Not the third one, but...
I suppose they're just listening to doors in space.
Yeah.
Like, if something was set on Earth, you go, there's a lot of front doors in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, you don't open your front door. Like, there are
if
some...
If there was an alien in this house, I'd let it out.
I don't know what to respond to that because you can't say that a normal door on a ship is comparable to the airlock. That's insane. We're just going to cut all that door stuff out.
No, we're keeping it in.
No, we're cutting out that door stuff. That's mental. I just have no response to your door stuff.
It'd be quite a long response.
Yes, so let's ask the question: is this film a watch or not? You look tired.
That was a weary.
Yeah.
You've asked this question.
Yeah. It's a not watch entirely.
Yep.
Don't watch Amelie and then think, oh wow, that guy did an Alien movie, cool. No, don't watch this film at all. I can't sort of unrecommend this film. I wish I hadn't watched this film, and I've had to watch it twice. Well, I think we've exhausted
Ourselves.
Yeah, and the franchise. That's what the producers said. No, they went on to do more things, which is good for us and for you, because you get to watch more of our videos. Oh, isn't that nice? Well, we'll be continuing our Saga Wars series. We're coming back with the first of Ridley Scott's prequels to this series with Prometheus. But until then, please remember to like and subscribe. It's very nice, and it means that we can do more of this for you. Well, see you soon. Goodbye.
Ooh, die.
His kind of passion project or vanity project.
Gotcha.
Why, man?